Hi guys, how you doing? I like to sit like this because it holds my chin up. You do stuff like that when you're 60. Today, we're not talking about how to hold your chin up though. I don't have those beauty secrets, obviously. What we're going to do though is talk about making a very beautiful style of jewelry, something that is dear to my heart. I have always loved wire assemblage in the vintage style, or as you might want to call it, cagework beading. Kind of like the old Haskell, Hagler, who else did it? Robert, Eugene jewelry. Some of those, if you want to look them up, you're going to see fantastic examples. And there's really not a lot yet written about how to do it. It's kind of sadly been overlooked a lot because a lot of how should I say, younger beaters coming on now, they're interested in the more organic looks. Well, that's saying that you know, this is fussy. Older people who do beading and so forth sometimes don't know that much about vintage jewelry as well, and are not that interested in it. Sadly, this is a wonderful genre, but it does come straight from vintage, which, as you know, like the Cagework beading thing, vintage jewelry is my heart. This is proof right here. Hi, Susan. My friend Susan sent me this brooch to save it because she wanted it for a focal for her beading, which she's a fabulous beater. But she knew to send it to me because I would protect it. Oh, let me get my hand off of it. Isn't it gorgeous? This is a 1980s Monet, not real old, but certainly not something you bust up. Another subject, another time. We've done videos on it. If you want to go back and look on responsible repurposing, you'll see them today. We're doing the wire assemblage in the Haskell style. I'm going to attempt to show you some beginning things to get your juices going, because really a lot of it is trial and error. Javi's looking at her watch, so I'm going long. Just come on over here and let's get at it, okay? All right, come on, let's have a good time. Okay, to get right to it, it's so hard to know where to begin because there's so much to it, and I've mentioned before, I love wire, but I'm not a wire artist. I love beads, but I'm not a bead artist. I can bead, I can wire. We're doing beading with wire. And you know, to me, it's more like embroidery than anything. Have you ever embroidered? Are you nimble with the needle? Then you'll probably be nimble with this. I'm not nimble with anything, but I love it. So, if you have passion, it makes up for lack of nimbleness. Maybe I'm just nimble-headed. Anyway, I want to show you something really special up close and personal. This is my personal stash, well, part of it. Drool. Permission to drool. This is my personal stash of Russian gold-plated brass. Okay, this is amazing stuff. No, it's not raw brass. Unplated, that means. No, it's not satin gold, which we're phasing out in favor of this. I worked with a specialty plater for the last number of months to try and finally get this finish perfected. And I think we have. I wish I had an old piece of Haskell down here. I meant to bring one to show you how close it is. It's almost the very same thing as the old Haskell finish. We did try this before a number of years ago. Some may remember it was on an 18K top. Now it's on a 22K top, meaning that the plating bath is 22K. So it's a higher gold, makes more sheen. Then there's a special antique that is applied to the top, several steps process, and this is what we got. And so you can really make a beautiful vintage look piece with this. So to do a vintage look piece in this style, you have to begin with what I call a builder and a backer. And you could say, well, Brenda Sue, that's the same piece. Yeah, it is. Because you're going to build your design. Am I in the frame there, Javi? You're going to build your design on one piece. And then after you build it, you'll back it with the other piece, like a sandwich. Voila. That covers all your wire. I'm going to give you a case in point. I'm going to leave those two out. Maybe a couple of these little bead things here. And this one here too, because we might talk about those. And I'm going to shove all this loot back in the sack so that Millie, the bad kitty, doesn't come up here and steal it. Do you have a kitty? Is she a thief? Ours is. Our cats have all been thieves. Maybe just cats are thieves. I don't know. Sneaky little beasts. Sorry this is taking so long, but I have a lot of loot. Do you know most of these pieces are on the website too? Not all of them, but practically all of them. So if you get intrigued, I don't have SKU numbers for you, but the line is not real deep yet. We have maybe 40 styles, 45, so you'll find them. I'll tell you which ones are on the site as we go along. Okay, so I've got this all picked up. Okay, don't get mad at me. Be nice. This is kind of hard for me to teach, but we're going to be teaching it over at the workshop here real quick, so I better get on to it. Okay, builder and backer. Builder and backer. What do I mean? Okay, I'm going to show you with a piece I've been working on. This is a piece I've been wearing. And it's really like any other form of assemblage. Is that in the picture good there, Javi? It's really like any other form of assemblage. You know how we take the pieces and we lay down certain pieces first to kind of build the flow of the piece, and then others to kind of add dimension, and others to add color or embellish. It's the same thing. But with wire, it's a little bit harder because with the wire and then the disparate pieces, it's real easy to get your design out of kilter, and that's something that I struggle with, but as you can probably see. But I mean, it's getting there. And these are all like the legitimate colors you would see in many of the old Haskell pieces, because I love the gold and the pearl and the crystal. But when I finish this, well, let me show you what the back of this looks like. A mess, right? It is a mess. But that's okay, because at the end, we'll twist all those wires off, and then we'll cover it by wiring on this piece. Now probably to this is probably going to be a brooch when I'm done with it, so I would wire a pin back onto it first. I like to challenge myself with these pieces to use as little glue as possible. If possible, to use none. Totally wire. This one should be totally wire when it's done. Now you might say, well, Brenda, how do you get those wires in control? Well, I don't really want to twist any of these off, but for your sake, because I like you, I'm going to do one. So here you go. Here's two pieces of wire that are not twisted off yet. And actually on my blog, which I will have Javi put that up, there is a mini tutorial that shows you the twist off. But I'm going to take two of these pieces here sticking up, and I'm just going to crisscross them like that, as tight as I can, down. And I'm going to pull them, okay? And then I'm going to pull that up, and I'm just going to start twisting it like this. Now, the trick is to do it gently. You got to have it firm and you got to have it tight. There she is, but not too tight, because it'll snap, and then you got a problem. So I'm picking up my wolf pliers here. I'll probably keep my hand out of the way, and I'm applying pressure. You don't want to take and wrap one wire around another. They have to be twisted. Legs crossed, turned around and around and around like a spiral. Okay? This is a twist off. Okay, now it's pretty tight, not too tight. It's out to here. Now I'm going to take my wires. I'm going to hold on to it so it doesn't go flying. Throw that out. Okay. That's twisted. Okay, now what I do is I take a pair around those pliers, and I grab the end of that and I just coil it. As many of you have coiled wire before, I have coiled wire before in my videos. See, I've made a nice little coil, and I take it and I just stick it down there, my hand out of the way, as flat as I can do it. And that way, if I finish off all my wires like this, I will easily be able to take the backer piece and put it over the builder piece, and then what I'll do is I'll take wire and I'll tack it all around the edges. Now, some pieces I'll go all the way around, loop-de-loop, oops, sorry, book-tabby, loop-de-loop-de-loop, but not on this one. I won't need to. It's a nice dapped piece. Dapped means bumped up. You see that's not perfectly flat? Can you see that? It's not perfectly flat. Bumped up. Dapped pieces of filigree are much easier to do cagework beading with than flat ones. Although you can do them with flat ones, and I have. But this is just easier. So for me to put this over the top, it'll cover that nicely, and it gives me a little room in between to make my sandwich. And then I can just kind of tack it by wrapping wires on these individual petals. And what you want to do is get it as tight as you can without snapping the wire. I use 28 gauge gold plated wire when I'm using Russian gold plate. It needs to be plated wire, not raw brass wire, because in time the raw brass, the fine wire will snap and degrade, or I don't know, it gets verdigris on it, you name it. That's why a lot of the old Haskell pieces, you'll find them a mess and needing totally rebuilt because the wire gave way. So keep with the gold plated, you should be okay. So anyway, that's what you do. And yeah, you do see these parts here that they'll be sticking up, but I'll find a way to just press that together and close it. Any of the wire will be tucked inside. Nothing will be out. Okay, let me show you a couple finished pieces so that you get a better idea, because I still have to. This is a finished piece that I did not with Russian gold plated wire, but instead this is done with the chocolate brass. And I took a builder and a backer. I built onto the front all these tiny little beads, went in there and got wired on. Rosemontees all got wired on. There is no glue in this piece, nothing. Where I erred is I should have put between these little rondelles, I thought I could get them to stand upright. I've been able to before. I should have taken and put little tiny beads in between each one of these. I didn't fix it, and I'm not going to, because I think I'm going to leave this for a teaching piece so that I can show you what I did wrong, because that's sometimes a really good thing. A little tiny, maybe 3-4 millimeter bead, maybe 4 in between here would have been better. Other than that, I'm pretty pleased. This has a pretty good shape to it. It's very free-flowing. But here's the back so that you can see. So you can see it's a piece of dapped filigree. Do I have a piece of this in Russian? Or I can grab it. I don't know if I got one in here or not. If I don't, want to show you what it looks like. Maybe not. Anyway, we have it on the site. But it's the X-shaped filigree. And I turn it on its side. And it's all wired under there. If you look close, you can see the twist off. This needs to be a little bit tighter. It's kind of like when you do your twist off on your earrings, you know? It goes around and around and around, and you make your little loop there at the top. You know, you got to get it tight. That's like I say, a little tiny itty bitty piece here that's too long and sticking out. I don't want to get that off of there. Yeah, bye-bye. And this is wired on too. Okay. This will give you a really good idea. So that one I like how it came out pretty good, except for this error here, which I'm leaving for teaching reasons. Okay, this one is a real paperweight. And the reason I say that is because, to my mind, this has too much dimension and too many loose wires. Your trick that you want to do, and this, you know, you only get it from practice, okay? So don't feel bad if you got pieces with loose wire. It's still lovely. You know, so long as it's not so loose that it's, you know, banging around everywhere, it's okay. But it just looks better. The aesthetic is better. It's better work the tighter you can work without snapping the wires. But this is just layers and layers of stuff. It's like I didn't know where to stop, I guess. And also another thing I noticed when I made this, after I took a photograph of it, it's really good to stand back and look at your stuff critically, but you know what? When you take a picture of it, the camera does not lie. I've made a lot of assemblage pieces and found a stray piece of glue I didn't see. I had to go back and fix it and rephoto it. This one, when I photoed it, I saw a lot of things that just looking at this right here, I like these little old moon glow beads sticking up. But in the photo, they look like pink blobs. So you have to keep that in mind when you're designing a piece. I remember when I was making this, I was binge watching Cheers. I think it was in season 5, and Sam and Diane were having one fight after another. Maybe it affected my work. I don't know. Watch something peaceful when you do this. You don't get frustrated. Yes, I confess, I binge watch old series. I watched 11 seasons of Frasier. Woohoo. Okay. This one I like how it came out. This one looks kind of sort of like old Haskell to me. This one is 2 pieces, actually a circlet, which I don't have down here either, and a smaller piece. When I show you the back, you'll see it. Bead it to the builder, and then put on the backer. All the Rosemontes are wired on. There's no glue in this, although you can see, whoops, just lost a few, right here and here and here, I am going to have to use some glue because these are little depressions and these are naked yet and they need filled. So I'm going to take little tiny no-hole pearls and I'm going to glue them in there. I have to. They're just not going to be able to wire them in there and not have wire showing all over. I just don't see how. So I'm just going to glue those in. But everything else is wired. Okay, show you the back. Okay, so here you see my backer. My builder looked like this too. It was a circlet, grid type. This is very messy wiring on here. I'll tell you, my technique needs to be improved, but it's secure. It's on there. It's not terrible. It's just not what I want it to be. And then I put this little piece at the bottom, and then everything is wired onto that. And you can see my little fussy tiny wires, how they went up the stems to catch my little tiny Lock Rosen beads. Let's see if I can show you how you can see how I went across to do the Rosemontes. For anybody who doesn't know what a Rosemonte is, I don't know if you can get this close up enough. That's a Rosemonte. Here's the front. It's a little check glass flat back. It's in a little tiny tin setting, and it's got 2 channels, one going one way and one going the other way. And you can run wire through them. And they were used in the old jewelry a lot. Nowadays you don't see them so much. Sometimes in better made, especially handmade bridal jewelry, you'll see them. But they are key to doing the old vintage style wire assemblage. So you'll want to get some, and we have them. And I will have even more very soon because they're on order, but we do have them. For me, I can't be without them. There's that kind, and then there's this kind. This is in a raw brass mount, and it sits up a little higher, more like a Tiffany set. And you can see there, it doesn't have the molded in or stamped in channel. It's got actual holes there. So that's your Rosemontes lesson for today. Okay, enough of that. All right. So for me, in teaching this, I was thinking, a lot of times the thing to do is just to show how to do some of the key elements that you use in the assemblage, how to attach certain things. So, we could take all day and all night. This is not something that you teach in a day or in one video. But I thought in this video, something that you might really enjoy seeing is how to wire a leaf. Do the tapestry beading on a leaf. So, I have some that I've done. Let me bring my little bead mat over. I love these little fuzzy bead mats. If you make an order and you want one of these, if I have any around stray to give you, I'll give you one. They don't cost very much. Just tell me, hey, do you have any stray bead mats? And if I have one, and say you spent at least 25 bucks or something, I'll give you one. Maybe I'll give you one just because. I don't know. We'll see. See if I have some first. Anyway, stop yakking. Okay, so I've got my little seed beads laid out. Do you like seed beads? Some of you guys are really great with seed beads. Javi is great with seed beads. She does all kinds of cool stuff with seed beads. Me, I hate them. I hate seed beads with a passion. But you can't do this kind of work and not use seed beads. So, get over it. Here are a couple of the little leaves that I have wired. Now, there are a couple little tricks to this, I'm going to tell you. I started out with a piece that looked like that. Bring it to the forefront. It's got little holes in it. So this should be a piece of cake to bead, right? Yeah, in some respects it is, but there are some tricks because it can drive you out of your mind too. There are some little things that you can do wrong that'll just wreck it and make you want to bang your head, so let's not have that. I'll put this one aside for now. This one is nicer than this one, and that's because there were some things that I discovered as I went along doing these that helped me out, so see if I can remember to tell you guys. First of all, here's one in progress. And what you're going to want, and I'll start, is you're going to want, whoops, you're going to want 28 gauge wire. And I've got my ruler here so I can measure. I like to get about 10 inches. That might be too much. You guys who are really good beaders already, you'll have to bear with me. I'm sorry, I'm a novice at this. I just like what I like, and I believe I have a good eye for this, so I'm doing it. But you might use less, is what I wanted to say. But 10 inches for me seems good. Let me put that out of the way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of straighten my wire by pulling it out. Okay, now I'm going to take my little piece with the holes and I'm going to start at the top. Let me put this guy out of the way because I'll take that one and show you how to finish it. This one's going to show you how to start it. Now I take my wire and I go through the front, okay? Don't go through the back. Well, you know what? If you find out going through the back works for you better, fine, go for it, but this works best for me. Okay, so I'm going to go through the front. And I'm going to leave a fairly long tail, okay? Then I'm going to kind of press up on that wire so it stays there. Pull over with it here and kind of just pull it back a little bit so it stays in place. And now I want to get seed beads on there. It takes two little seed beads to go across there. So I like to take my seed beads right off the string if I can. And most of you people who bead with seed beads know this trick already. I just think it's so cool. I just go right through the seed beads on the string and I pull them off. Voila! I read that in a beading book someplace. I'm not a beader, but I read beading books. So I've got two there. And I'm kind of holding them with my thumb. Now, here's the trick. Because this, oh, here she comes. You need to go away. Cats. Okay, the trick is pulling this through here without kinking it, because when your wire is a little bit on the long side, that's when it'll want to kink. So I kind of keep your beads back, don't let them fall forward. I kind of try to keep my loop here, and don't pull it up too fast. You're going to want to pull it tight but not too quickly, because that's where I may already have a kink going. Here we go. There's a little kink on the end of that. It's hard to get the first couple in there, especially when you have a cat roaming around the side and you're trying to do a video too. And I missed the one hole, so that's great. Okay, well, you know, it's alright, because showing you what's wrong, how you can mess it up, is not a bad thing. We've got to get her out of here. Can you grab her? She thinks she's going to bead too. Go away, kitty. We love you, but not right now. Okay, this one actually could have been drilled a little funky. Yeah, let's blame it on the piece. Okay, so we're off to a rip-roaring start. Now I've got kinked wire. Okay, what do I do when I get my wire kink? Okay, I try and straighten it then. There's even little tools for this. Did you know that? To straighten your wire. I don't have one, because I don't. I should get one. I'm going to put that back through there. I got the wrong hole too. That didn't help. Okay, again, putting that through. And we want to try and keep that loop open as long as we can. Maybe put your thumb in there. Because here is where the truth is told. I did it! Yay! Okay, so now I'm going to pull my two wires up tight. Here's the back. I'm going to start with my first twist off right here. I'm going to pinch it and I'm going to turn. Not hard, only once. That's all you need. That secures those two beads there, so they're not going to come rolling off. Let me get my fingers out of the way while you're working. Okay, now I'm going to pull my wire out this way and this way. Okay, Next important thing to remember is before you pick up any more beads, come through your next hole. That's a mistake I make a lot. And then I gotta dump them all off and start over. So here I go. The next row on this one will require 4 beads. Now, whatever you bead, you know, it's going to be different. Some pieces have holes in them to bead too, some don't. And one time maybe we'll do a video on one that doesn't have holes when I get better at doing that. I've always been very sensitive about doing this. I've only done 2 videos on anything that even approached this. And people all the time saying, why don't you do more? I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not a beader. You know, I'm always feeling like I'm going to get dissed by every beader in the world because they know better, because they do, than me. But you know what? The thing is, I just have to say, I love it. I love this style. I love my brass stampings, and so it's all good. Okay, so I've got 4 going across there. Do I have 4 going across the other one? Actually, 3 might be better, so I'm just going to pull one off. Okay, now I'm going to come through the next hole down. So I have to be careful I get the right one. It's this one. Millie, you're back. You're a rotten cat. Yeah, you are. How many of you guys work with the cat? I know a lot of you do. You tell me you do. You show me your pictures. Okay, I've got that in. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to pull them up. I'm going to twist them again. I'm going to do one more row, guys, and then I'm going to show you how to finish it. Okay, on one that's partially done. Because you've got other things to do, like go make some, right? And so do I. Javi says she wants me to go to the grocery store so I can make dinner. That might be a good idea. She's smiling. Rotisserie chicken or spaghetti? What do you think?
That's a tough question.
That's a tough question. Okay, so now I've come through the hole again. That's real important. Remember to come through the hole. And I usually continue to work with just one tail. And you can go back and forth if you want. But I've found for me it's easier to work with one tail. So now this time I will pick up 4. In fact, I think the next row takes 5. It's something you have to work out. You know, I suppose someone could write instructions down. You know, I see it in the bead books. This graph, twist here, bend here, go through this hole. You need 22 of this size seed bead and 51 of that one and blah, blah, blah. And that's great, but I can't deal with it. It's probably why I don't bead. I just can't wrap my brain around that kind of thing. Somebody has to show me. So for the sake of you guys out there who are like me, that are show me type people, well, okay, I'm showing you. Okay, so I'm going across now. I'm going to find the next hole. I'm going to bend this over a little bit and go through carefully so I don't kink my wire. But it gets easier the shorter that the wire gets. And another thing too is, you know, watch with your tail that you don't, you know, get it like up here and you poke yourself in the eye or anything, you know. Okay, so now I've got it there. What am I going to do again? Okay, I'm going to do a twist off. Pull this over and twist off. And I'll just keep going until that is filled. Okay, that's pretty nice and even. I'm proud of that. Had kind of a bad start, but it's all good because I got to show you what can go wrong. So, hey, it's all right. It's all right. Okay, I want to show you too what the back one of these looks like when it's done. That's kind of intricate. Can you see that? Maybe see how it goes across itself all the way down? That was the twist off. I have another piece down here. I meant to bring it. I had another piece that had a bigger piece to show you. It was a big leaf that I did. No, we'll have to suffice with this. You can see how I did it all the way down. And then there's, if you can see, there's a little coil that I made here, the twist off, and brought it up and wrapped it around, and it's down flush. You can say, well, Brenda Sue, that's going to show, isn't it? Because, you know, how are you going to do a backer for that? And I would say, well, you can. There is an opposing leaf that you can purchase and you could put 2 together, but till you put it into an assemblage it would make it very lumpy and it wouldn't lay right in the assemblage. So when you're just doing it, oh, here's the big one. Say I was going to put leaves going all the way down this. You know, I need them flat on there, okay, right? So I want to do a thing with just all leaves kind of cascading down that. That's actually a pretty nice design to do that. then in that case, you know, I wouldn't want it being lumpy and sticking up. And when I put that down on there, you're not going to see anything. So it doesn't matter with these, okay? Alright, so I promised you I was going to show you one that's about ready to finish, and that would be this one. So I have 3 holes to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here with this one. And see, I've got a kink. I pulled it out. There we go. You learn to deal with that. The more you do this, the more you learn to deal with that. Okay, let's see, how many should I need? Probably 4. So I'm going to pull my string, get them nice and tight on the string. You can work off the string too. I don't have any problem doing that. I just found this is kind of a cool little trick. Can you see that? See how I do this? See, my hand's probably in the way. See how the wire goes through there? I'm just going through it right on the string. I've got 4. Okay. Pull up, pull off. Voila! Then fall down and then bend across, and let's see where I'm at. Yeah, I don't want to put another one in there. If I do, it's going to make it lumpy on the top. So now I'm going to go in this hole. Now don't twist and kink on me now. There we go, nice and flat. Yay. Yay us. Okay, there's a twist. Pull across again. Okay, I'm going to go from this side. You know, maybe it depends on like if you're left-handed or right-handed, you know, which side you might favor working from. I don't know that it really matters. But this is the way I do it. If you have a better way, that's great. If you want to share it with us, we'd love to hear. As long as you're nice. Sometimes in the world of some hobbies and abilities, you know, someone who's a little bit more advanced has a little ego that goes with it, and it's not encouraging for ones who are learning to have somebody be disrespectful and unkind just because somebody's learning something. And you know, we all want to learn, so if you have any tips, cool. But we don't like ego. I try to really strain ego out. It's hard not to have any. Everybody's got to have a little bit. You have to be proud of what you do. But I try to be as humble as I can about stuff, and I'm always working on it every day. There I am, I'm through again. It's just it's so much more encouraging to let everyone know that you're just like them. We're on this journey together. No matter how advanced you are, hopefully you'll be learning stuff till the day you can make jewelry no more. And even at that time, you'll never know everything. So now see, I'm going through this hole this time. But I'm pulling up, and I really don't want to get this one kinked. So this is bent in a little bit, so I need to pull it out. See? Because it'll kink less if I do that. Pull that down tight. Yes! Okay. Do I want any more on there? I don't think so. I'm just kind of looking at what I did already. I could probably put one more. Well, I've got this up. Okay, I'm going to do it. Let's see what happens. In fact, I might put 2. I have to make everything exactly the same. If you look at the old pictures, like if you go to Pinterest or Etsy, there are some sellers at Etsy that have collections of this stuff for sale. It's not a bit cheap. But what's really cool, if you go to Etsy, you can see the backs too, because if you're a responsible seller, you have to show the back of the piece, whether it's handmade or vintage or whatever. So you can see the backs and see, you can learn a lot that way. I have like all kinds of them print it out so I can look. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so now I'm going to finish it, and here's how I finish it. Okay, I'm going to do a twist here as tight as I can so it'll stay close to the leaf finding. And now I'm going to start with my flat nose, and I'm going to do the coil. I had some other things I wanted to show you today too about putting things together, but it's going to have to wait for the next video because too much at once is not a good thing. And I have a tendency, as I'm sure you've noticed, to talk a little bit too much. It's because I will not script these. I want it to feel to you like when we visit together that we are really visiting. And let's face it, life isn't lived to a script. So we don't do scripted videos, and so sometimes they can get a little bit out of kilter, but oh well. Okay, don't cut your finger. I'm going to cut them and hold on to this. Snip. Don't need this. I'll get rid of it. Now I've got my little coil to make. So I'll get a piece of pair of needle noses. He's got glue on. Dang. Okay, get the very tip. If you don't have the best eyesight, you can get those magnifying glasses, magnivisors and stuff like that, or get yourself a really nice overhead light that goes over top. I'm thinking about getting one of those for upstairs. Down here I've got pretty good light with these sideways lights we've got. Okay, so now you see I've got that done. Now I'm going to feel over that. How high is that sticking up? A little higher than I'd like. So being careful not to break my seed beads because they are glass and they could shatter. Just crimp that down a little bit. Okay, that's soft. That's good. Okay, so it's not perfect. You'll see a little wire on that. I'm sure till I photograph that I'm going to see wire. It always makes me mad when I do. Of course, you know, when you use the camera lens and you get in tight, you see stuff that you wouldn't see when you're holding it in your hand anyway. But still, I want to, you know, I know if I can get it looking good like that, man, I've got something going on. But here are my 3 little leaves. Aren't they cute? And I'm going to use them in this assemblage I'm doing to finish it off. Maybe I'll put one here. Let me lay this down. And maybe I'll do one here. I don't know. Maybe that won't fit up quite right. I don't know. I'll play with it. I'll have it done until next time. How's that? Because we're going to do a lot with this. There's going to be a variable series of this. There's just so many things to show you. So many things I'm finding out every day. Every time I sit down to do this, I'm finding out something else that I can do to make it easier or just as cool a little trick. So anyway, I'm hoping that you guys will have a chance to see my blog post because you can see some up-close pictures there that I've taken with the camera. And I hope that you'll try this. We have everything you need to do it at Bisou Boutiques. Of course, that's where we have the good stuff. And everything there is kind of in the vintage look. So it'll be great if you want to get some. You can do it on any color of brass, but the authentic look would be this Russian gold plate. So grab yourself a stash, collect a little bit up here and there, and do a few things with it. And we'll see you next time we get together and do some wire assemblage with beads in the vintage style. Have a great day.